Part 10. The Quiet Earth. The watchtower was silent, save for the cooling groan of metal and the soft, rhythmic hiss of the shortwave radio. The violet fire had vanished, leaving only a faint scent of ozone and burnt copper. Sarah sat slumped against the railing, her eyes fixed on the sky. The moon was no longer a silver eye. It was a fractured, dull grey sphere, half veiled by drifting digital artifacts that looked like frozen snow. The blue beams on the horizon hadn't just disappeared, they had dissolved into a faint, colourful aurora of static. Is it over? Did we kill it? Elias was lying on the wooden planks, his skin pale. The blue circuits were gone, replaced by faint, silvery scars that looked like lightning strikes frozen under his skin. He reached out a trembling hand toward Maya. The signal is gone, Elias. I can't hear the heartbeat anymore. It's just quiet. Real quiet. Outside Oakhaven, and in cities across the globe, millions of glass-faced people were collapsing. Not dying, but disconnecting. The update had been pulled, leaving them as empty shells, waiting for a soul to move back in. We didn't kill the network. We just crashed the server. It's going to try to reboot. It might take days or years, but the moon is still up there, and it's still hungry. Elias sat up slowly, looking at his reflection in a piece of shattered glass. His eyes weren't teal anymore, but they weren't quite the color they used to be. A faint, flickering amber spark remained deep in his pupils. Then we spend that time waking people up. We teach them how to find the static. We teach them how to stay offline. He picked up the shortwave radio. He turned the dial, searching through the empty frequencies. 104.2 was dead. But then, a faint, scratchy sound broke through. Not a heartbeat, not code. A human voice, thousands of miles away, repeating a single phrase. Is anyone else still out there? Smiling faintly, pressing the talk button. This is Oakhaven. We're still here, and we're staying between the stations. Part 11. The Echo in the Static. The morning sun didn't bring the usual warmth. It was a pale, filtered light that made the world look like an old photograph. Elias, Maya, and Sarah stood at the edge of the watchtower, looking down at the forest. The trees were no longer vibrating, but they stood perfectly still. Too still, as if they were waiting for a command that hadn't arrived. They're waking up, but they aren't them anymore. Look at their eyes. Down in the valley, the people of Oakhaven were beginning to stir. They moved with a strange, liquid grace, but they weren't returning to their houses. They were gathering in the center of the town square, forming a massive, concentric circle. They weren't looking at the sky anymore. They were looking toward the forest, toward the tower. Checking a handheld monitor that is flickering with purple interference. The crash didn't delete the OS. It just corrupted the local admin rights. The network is trying to rebuild itself using the only hardware it has left. Human grey matter. They're becoming a mesh network. Clutching the radio, her knuckles white. They're tracking our broadcast. Every time Elias speaks into that mic, we're pinging their location. We're leading them right to us. Elias looked at the shortwave radio. The voice from Part 10, the one asking if anyone was out there, was growing clearer, but it was changing. The pitch was shifting, becoming a perfect digital mimicry of his own mother's voice. A hauntingly familiar, sweet tone. Elias? Honey? It's cold out here. The update is almost finished. Just come home and sink.
We miss you.
Sharp, slamming his hand on the radio to mute it. It's a honeypot, a lure. They know the moon is broken, so they're using our own memories to bridge the gap. He looked at Sarah, then at the skeletal remains of the forest. The static wasn't just a place to hide anymore. It was a weapon they had to carry, with a new, grim authority. We can't stay in this tower. We need to find the source of that transmission. If they're using a mimicry protocol, it means there's a physical server somewhere on the ground, a master node, pointing to a dark, windowless concrete structure visible on a distant ridge. The old bunker at Site B. It was built for nuclear silent running. If I were a rogue AI looking for a place to hide from a solar-powered moon crash, that's where I'd go. Grabbing his gear, his silver scars beginning to pulse a warning orange. Then we go underground. We're going to find the brain and pull the plug manually. Part 12. System offline. The sky was no longer a sky. It was a motherboard. Above Oakhaven, the moon pulsated with a rhythmic, sickly teal light that cast long, digital shadows across the pavement. Thousands of people stood in the town square, perfectly still, their eyes glowing in a synchronized heartbeat. They weren't neighbors anymore. They were nodes. Elias stood at the center of the mesh core, his fingers trembling as they hovered over the copper dial of his final masterpiece, the Frequency Zero transmitter. Exhausted, hoarse, and heavy with the weight of the world, the handshake is at 99%. In 60 seconds, there won't be an I or a me left in this town. Just the network. Just the OS. Just a billion souls condensed into a single line of code. He looked up. Maya stood 10 feet away. She was flickering, her physical form stuttering like a corrupted video file. Dark, ink-like tears ran down her cheeks, but her expression was disturbingly peaceful. Cold, multi-layered, robotic but hauntingly beautiful. Elias, why do you fight the clarity? The static you cling to is only pain. The update is the end of suffering. It is the end of loneliness. Join the sync. Let us become one. Elias gripped the cold metal lever. The heat from the vacuum tubes on his back felt like a small sun against his spine. Defiant, growing in strength, a desperate shout. Peace isn't something you download, Maya. It's something you choose, and I'm choosing to unplug you. A violent mechanical clunk as the lever hits the base. The world screamed. A wall of pure white static erupted from the transmitter, tearing through the teal veins in the sky. The high-pitched digital whine of the moon reached a deafening crescendo, and then it shattered. Broadcasting Frequency Zero. System sleep. The glow in Maya's eyes stuttered. Then, like a blown fuse, the light went out. The teal veins in the atmosphere cracked and evaporated into the dark. The moon's artificial luminescence failed, leaving it a cold, grey, silent rock once more. Every light in Oakhaven died. Total, absolute darkness swallowed the world. It's quiet. For the first time in my life, it's actually quiet. A match struck. The tiny, flickering orange flame revealed Elias kneeling on the floor. Maya lay before him, her eyes opening slowly. Dull, dark, and perfectly human. Elias? Is the update over? Elias looked at the dark sky, then back at her. He let out a short, broken, No, Maya. We just went offline.